Hi YouTubers, Mrs. Lone Wolf here today to talk about anxiety triggers and responsibility. An anxiety trigger is referring to something that sets off anxiety. This may be a certain person, a location, being around crowds, being around a certain scent, whatever it may be. It's just whatever causes anxiety to suddenly spin out of control. And a lot of people who have anxiety experience that out of control trigger from illness. Maybe you feel a little off, you're really tired, or you're coming down with a cold. That can cause anxiety to really spiral out of control. I notice that a lot of people who deal with anxiety are very, very body conscious. They're very worried about their health, and so anything that threatens their health tends to be very terrifying for them. So whatever your trigger may be, you need to realize that you have responsibility over how you respond to it. Even though that trigger may set off anxiety, it is ultimately your responsibility as to whether you allow it to get out of control. So in a lot of cases when you have that trigger, you may feel anxiety, but you have the choice of whether or not you're going to really freak out over it. And that was something that I absolutely hated hearing when I dealt with anxiety, because I would never wake up in the morning and go, yes, I want to have anxiety, bring it on. That just is not fun. No one enjoys having anxiety. But you need to realize it is something you can control. And one of the ways you can control it is just not fighting it. When we deal with anxiety, a lot of times we tense up and we just worry about it and go, well, what if this is a heart attack? What if this is an illness? Whatever it may be. What if people see me having a panic attack? That's a big one for people with anxiety. You don't want people seeing you freak out because it's humiliating. You'd rather be in your own little room and no one can see you do anything and you can freak out all you want. It's an uncomfortable, embarrassing thing to experience. But once we stop those what if thoughts and we stop thinking about what if it's such a serious thing, and we stop fighting it and we just say, okay, this is how I'm feeling, I'm a little uncomfortable right now, it's not a big deal, and just wait for it to pass, then it's not such a huge issue. It's not going to spiral out of control on you. So that's something I would say to focus on. If you're dealing with anxiety and you don't know what your triggers are, pay attention to when you feel anxious. Write it down if you need to, that you felt anxious in this certain situation around these certain people, whatever it may be, because once you figure out what your anxiety trigger is, then you can figure out how to slow and ultimately stop a panic attack that gets out of control. That's all I have for today. Make sure you stay tuned for future videos on how to deal with anxiety and get rid of it permanently. Thanks for watching.
We all have your phone days. If only I had none. If I shared my